Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Today's game has Matt winning the die roll and starting us off. He draws, playing a snow-covered island, and then casts a sleep-cursed fairy. Max's turn has a tap Thundering Falls, surveilling one as it comes in. Sammy's also got a tap land with a Smoldering Marsh, but doesn't get to surveil. Arja draws and plays a Valakut Stoneforge, shipping it after that. Mathieu's got another snow-covered island, and he pays 2 for an Arcane Signet. He taps the Signet for a Pteramander and passes. Max has got an island, and casts Kitsa. Sammy drops a Swamp, and has enough mana for a Bogart Cursecrafter, passing it after resolves. Arja's turn has him playing an Inventor's Fair, and passing. Matt's got a snow-covered island, and swings Pteramander at Arja, dealing 1. He then passes turn. Max has got a mountain, and casts Ral Monsoon Mage. He then swings Kitsa at Matt for 1. Sammy's got a mountain, and then casts the Great Goblin. He then hits Max for 2 with the Cursecrafter and ships it. During the end step, Arja casts a Cathartic Pyre, picking the mode to discard 2 and draw 2. Arja's got a mountain, and pays 3 mana for an Imperial Recruiter, and goes to tutor for Magda, Brazen Outlaw. He puts her to hand, and passes turn. During the end step, Mathieu flashes in a Fairy Mastermind. Mathieu's got a snow-covered island, and swings the Sleep-Cursed Fairy at Max, and the Pteramander at Sammy, and the Fairy Mastermind at Arja. They all take the hits, and Matt passes, while Max activates Kitsa to loot during the end step. Max has got an untapped Hollowed Fountain, taking 2, and then activates Kitsa again. He then brings out a Wizard Staff and passes. Sammy plays a Sulphurous Springs, and then swings the Cursecrafter at Mathieu. Matt takes the hit for 2, and Sammy then sacrifices the Cursecrafter to help cast Deadly Dispute. The Great Goblin also exiles a card off the top, which is a Skull Clamp. Sammy then casts Grub, and uses it to return the Cursecrafter to hand before passing turn. Arja's turn has him playing out a Bonder's Enclave, and he casts Smaug. He then swings him at Sammy for 4, and passes. During the end step, Mathieu flashes in the Lord of the Eagles. Matt draws and casts a Coastal Piracy. He then goes to combat. He swings the Fairy Mastermind at Max, the Lord of Eagles at Sammy, and the Pteramander at Arja. They all take their hits, and Mathieu gets to draw 3. In his second main phase, he plays Seagate Reborn untapped and takes 3, and then passes to Max. Max drops a Spectator Seating, and then casts Gandalf. He then activates Kitsa. He then moves to equip the Wizard Staff onto Gandalf, and going to combat, casts Teferi's Protection with the trigger. Max takes 1 from the Ral trigger though, phases out, and passes turn. Sammy draws and transforms Grub. He then casts a Goblin Cursecrafter again. Going to combat, Sammy swings Grub at Arja, and blights on the Cursecrafter to make a copy of it, sending the copy at Mathieu. With the blight counter going into the Cursecrafter, the Great Goblin deals 2 to Arja's face. They both take their hits, and Sammy's second main phase has him casting Skull Clamp. He equips it onto the copy. Sammy then sacrifices the copy, draining each opponent for 1, and exiles Feed the Swarm off the top, thanks to the Great Goblin. Sammy also gets to draw 2 from Skull Clamp, and passes after that. Arja's upkeep has him making a treasure, drawing for turn, and then plays Mines of Moria. He then casts Jeska's Will. He gets both modes since Smaug is out, making 7 red mana and exiling his top 3. Arja then casts Spiteful Banditry, putting 2 into the X. All creatures on the board take 2, and he gets to make a treasure token off of it since a creature gets taken out. Arja then uses the remaining red mana to help cast Gloin. He then follows up with an Idol of Oblivion. This makes Arja a treasure token, and he then taps the idol to draw a card. Arja then swings Smaug at Sammy, and he has the Smaug on attack trigger go at Mathieu, who takes 3, while Sammy then takes 4 commander damage. In his post-combat main phase, Arja then casts the Misty Mountains Cold and passes to Matt. Matt plays a snow-covered island and swings the Lord of Eagles at Arja. Arja takes the hit for 8, and Mathieu then casts a Bitter Thorn and passes. Max phases back in and then casts a Zami. He immediately taps her to draw a card, and then taps Kitsa to draw another one. Max then plays a Storm-Carved Coast, and then taps Ralph to draw a card, and he taps Gandalf to draw a card as well, and moves to combat. Max then uses the Gandalf trigger to cast Cryptic Command, and he picks the mode to bounce the Coastal Piracy and draw a card. Max passes after that. Sammy plays an untapped Blood Crypt, taking 2, and casts a Murderous Redcap. As the Redcap comes in, he shoots a Zami for 2 to take her out. He then follows up with Feed the Swarm, destroying the Spiteful Banditry and losing 2 more. He ships it after that. Arja makes a treasure on his upkeep, draws, and taps the idol to draw again. He plays a mountain for turn, and then brings out Magda. This makes him a treasure token from Gloin. Going to combat, Arja swings Smaug at Sammy, and uses the on attack trigger to blast Gandalf. Sammy then takes the commander damage. Arja passes, and during the end step, Mathieu casts Memory Deluge. Matt's got a snow-covered island, and he goes to combat. Arja sacrifices a treasure to Gloin in response, goading the Lord of Eagles, and Magda makes another treasure to replace it since a dwarf was tapped. Matt then swings his commander at Sammy, and the Germ token with Bitterthorn at Max. This gets Mathieu another land, and they each then take the damage. In his second main phase, Mathieu casts an Ascendant Spirit and passes to Max. Max's land drop is an Arid Mesa, which he cracks to go and find a Plains. He then recasts Gandalf, and once more equips the staff onto him, and then activates Kitsa to loot. Max then goes to combat, and Gandalf gets triggered twice, casting Swords to Plowshares on Smaug, and then sink into Stupor on the Lord of the Eagles. Both spells resolve, and Max takes damage off of Ral, but declines to flip him on the second flip. He ships it after that. Sammy's got a swamp, and he casts Muxus. Mathieu counters it with access denied, making 6 Thopters, and Sammy sadly passes. During the end step, Arja activates Mines of Moria, exiling some cards from his graveyard to make 2 more treasure tokens. He then sacrifices 5 treasures to Magda's ability, and tutors 4 and puts to field a Clock of Omens. Arja draws, and ticks at the Misty Mountains Cold to make a treasure token. He then plays a Fountain Port, and sacrifices the Inventor's Fair to go and find a Universal Automaton, putting it to hand. Arja then casts the Automaton, and Mathieu responds by casting Reality Shift on Magda. Before letting that resolves, Arja taps his Idol of Oblivion in response to draw a card. There's no redirect though, and Reality Shift resolves, and he exiles Magda and manifests his top card. Arja then continues his turn by casting Ragavan, and he then untaps his Idol of Oblivion by tapping the Automaton and Clock of Omens. He then taps the idol again to draw another card, and taps 2 treasures to untap the idol, and then taps it again to draw another card. He ships it after that. Matt's got a snow-covered island, and casts Hermes. He then swings the Sleep-Cursed Fairy at Arja, and 3 Thopter tokens at Sammy. They both take the hit for 3, and Mathieu then passes. Max draws and casts Leer, but Mathieu responds with a counterspell. With a counterspell in the stack, Max loots with Kitsa, but doesn't find an answer. It's countered, and Max then continues with Krill Baldison. He then passes without any instants or sorceries to cast with Gandalf, and we move to Sammy's turn. Sammy draws, playing a Dark Fortress, and then casts a Bloodline Bidding. He picks Goblin, and gets all of his goblins back, and another Muxus trigger. This is Sammy hitting Goblin Matron, and the Matron in turn goes to find a Howl Squad Heavy. He then continues with a Brightstone Ritual, getting a ton of mana. He casts a Skirk Prospector from it, and puts the Skull Clamp onto the Red Cap before sacrificing it. drawing 2 and making a red, plus drains the table for 1. But Madcap then re-enters, dealing 1 to Mathieu. Sammy then casts Kiki-Jiki, and he activates Kiki-Jiki to make a token copy of the Matron. The Matron copy goes to find Krenko, and Sammy then sacrifices 3 goblins to make 3 red mana, and deals 3 to each of his opponents. He uses that mana to cast Krenko, and then sacrifices 3 more goblins to help cast Howl Squad Heavy, and deals another 3. Sammy then continues by tapping Krenko to make 4 goblin tokens. He then sacrifices 1 of the tokens to make a mana, and uses that mana to clamp another one, dealing 2 more to each opponent. Sammy then does it again, dealing another 1, and with nothing else, Sammy passes. Arja draws and gets the last chapter on the Misty Mountains Cold for another treasure. He then casts Gamble, and goes to find a card, discarding an Amonkhet Raceway. He then follows up with the Village Pillagers. Sammy sacrifices his 1 toughness creatures in response, draining the table for 2, and Mathieu also activates his Ascendant Spirit to power it up. The Village Pillagers come in, putting a -1/-1 counter onto a bunch of creatures, with Arja making 8 tapped treasure tokens. He then taps the idol to draw a card, and he casts a Lotus Petal. He then taps 2 treasure tokens, the Clock of Omen and the Lotus Petal, to untap the idol twice, and taps it to draw 2 more cards. He ships it after that. Mathieu draws, recasting Coastal Piracy, and he goes to combat. He swings the Sleep-Cursed Fairy at Arja, dealing 2, drawing a card, and passing after that. Max's turn has him casting Venet, and then follows up with Vivi Ornithur. He then follows up by looting with Kitsa, and he goes to combat. He uses the Gandalf trigger to cast Elementor's Simulacrum, and he copies Hermes, the Village Pillagers, and the Howl Squad Heavy. Max and Arja make treasures from the Village Pillager triggers, and Vivi pings the table for 1 as he's casting a spell, and gains a +1/+1 counter. Arja then activates Gloin on the Village Pillagers to goad it, and Max swings it and Gandalf at Sammy. Sammy chumps the Pillagers and Gandalf with 2 of his Goblin tokens, the Curse Crafter drains each of his opponents for 1, and Arja and Max make 2 more treasure tokens. Max then plays a Command Tower, and passes. Sammy's got a Swamp, and he casts the Great Goblin. He then casts the Legion Warboss. He goes to combat, making a Goblin off the Warboss, and he taps Krenko to make 4 more Goblins. Sammy then swings a token from the Warboss at Arja, who blocks with the Village Pillagers, and Sammy passes turn. Arja's got a mountain, and he makes a deal with Sammy. He offers not to take him out with Smaug if Sammy doesn't deal with the commander, and Sammy agrees. Arja then casts Smaug, and he swings him at Mathieu, and points the on-attack trigger at Max. Max gets taken out from that trigger, but Mathieu casts an Archmage's Charm to draw 2. He then takes 4, and Arja taps the Idol of Oblivion to draw a card. He then follows it up by casting Glimpse the Impossible, excelling his top 3. One of those cards is a Blasphemous Act, which he casts. Sammy responds to this with Lethal Scheme on Hermes, using goblins to help convoke it. Arja also responds, and untaps the idol several times to draw even more cards. He can't find an answer though, since the counters going onto the goblins tokens will take him out, but Mathieu is able to swoop in and save the day with Keep Safe to counter the spell. The Blasphemous Act then resolves, with Arja making more tapped treasure tokens. He then moves to his end step, putting the 2 other cards from exile into his graveyard, and gets to make 2 Eldrazi spawn tokens. Matt draws, plays a snow-covered island, and casts Sower of Temptation. Mathieu targets an Eldrazi spawn token when it enters, but Arja sacrifices it so he can't steal it. Matt then passes turn. Sammy draws and plays a Swamp. He then casts the Great Goblin. He follows up by casting Book of Marzabul, and he amasses 1, and gets a Great Goblin trigger to deal 2 to Mathieu. He passes after that. Arja's got a Sokenzan as his land for turn, and sacrifices the Eldrazi spawn token to help recast Smaug. He then follows up with a Cavern Horde Dragon. He then moves to combat, but doesn't get very far as Mathieu overloads a Cyclonic Rift. Arja then moves through his combat step, recasting a Lotus Petal, and passes after that. Matt's got a snow-covered island, and he swings a Sower of Temptation at Sammy. Sammy gets taken out, and Mechu's second main phase has him casting a Sapphire Medallion, and then a Vantress Gargoyle, and he passes after that. Arja draws, and he casts Cavern Horde Dragon again, and he goes to combat, swinging it at Matt. Matt responds by flashing in the Lord of Eagles, and blocks. Before damage though, Arja casts Wild Magic Surge on the Lord. It resolves, with Mechu getting another island. Mechu then follows up with an Aetherize. The attacking creature is bounced back to Arja's hand, and he passes, and with no answers from Mechu's attackers, knows when he's beat and scoops it up. Game review time. The Hobbit decks continue to impress me, and there are a lot of fun archetypes built around them. Obviously I'm a big fan of the Great Goblin since it's goblins, and it's got a really interesting mechanic. Gandalf is also super cool to see, and you never know what someone's going to cheat out during combat. Mechu's Eagle deck was also pretty sweet, which seemed to be more focused around flyers and just hard control. I will applaud him for using Cyclonic Rift in the proper manner, which is to help clear the way to help him win, as opposed to just stalling at the game for 600 hours. Smaug also continues to perform quite well. I think Arja may have been off in when he tutored for with Gamble and Imperial Recruiter. Magda is often a very good target, but unfortunately I think he needed card draw more with like Professional Facebreaker or something like that. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.